Okay everyone, so in this lesson I just want to talk about the link element, which is a element that is also a child element of the head element that we commonly use, especially if we will be linking our web page or our document to an external style sheet or even Google Fonts or other external resources. So as I've talked about in our previous lessons, or in the previous lesson that we had here about the embedded style sheet, we don't do this commonly because I'm just doing this right now because I just want to minimize the number of files that we will be working with. But technically, this is not the best practice that we recommend, or the developers will be recommending when you're building your website. It will be much better to have an external style sheet. So when we say external style sheet, we want to have an external style sheet that can contain most of the styling designs that you would want the browser to implement in all of your web pages. Let's say you would want all of your web pages to have a body background color of black. So instead of you copying this in all of the pages that you have in your website, that will be consuming a lot of time. So what we would want to do here is that just to create an external style sheet. Let's say we have here a style.css. Okay, let me just go and open that up. So instead of me pasting all of this inside of all of the pages, let's say I have here about.html. So I have an about.html, or let's say I would want this to be a hello.html. So instead of me going and embedding all of the content here that would be similar, that will be producing a background color of black to this same page here, instead of me doing that, I will just create an external style sheet from where I can go and declare the body as background color black. Okay, so if I save that and if I go and use this as an external style sheet here, so style.css, that will be the, so we can see here in the generated code in Visual Studio Code, we have the attribute relation and then the style sheet as the value, and href attribute that references that is used to reference or link your index.html to your style.css file here. Okay, so technically, if I go and remove this, let me just go and Control X this and save this, and then save this, and if I go and try to open the document, you would see here that we still have the background color black. But if I change this to, let's say, pale goldenrod color, and I go back to our document and refresh this, you would see it's still opening up and it's changing the color of our document here. Okay, so I won't be using external style sheets here, so at least I won't need to go from tab to tab when we are working with our project here. I just wanted to show you here that the link element can be used to link to an internal file that we have in our folder that we named style.css, which means cascading style sheet, and that's where we can maximize the use of style sheets inside of this external file instead of embedding it inside of our main document or HTML document here. But again, this is a fundamental course. I will not be using too much external style sheet here because I want to introduce as many elements as much as possible, and I just want to focus on having a single index.html here from where we will not need to open up other tabs or files here. So I'm hoping that you're getting the idea here. You can also go and link to other resources besides from an internal file or a local file that you have in your computer. That means instead of using a style.css file that will be located in your storage or in your file directory, which is our folder here, HTML fundamentals, we can also maximize the use of external style sheets that is found on the web. So that's what we're going to be using in our project here. So let's go to Google Fonts let's go and look for a Google font that I prefer using for this project. And I would want to use so Google Fonts is a good resource for typography. So let's go and search for a typography that we can use for our original story for kids website that I'm planning to build while we're having our discussions about the different elements for this HTML fundamental course. So I would want to go and try to search for the Chewy font family here. So this is the Chewy font family. So just search for that, and then you would see a demonstration for that font family. And then because I want to use this as the font family for my project, so you will see you can change it, but let's fix it with 30 pixels. Okay, 30 pixels, and then select the style, and you can either review it here, or we can actually just go to the embed tab here and then copy the link here. So control copy, and then go back to our code editor here, and then go to our body here, and then oops, sorry, not in the body element. I would want it to be here, and if I save that and then get the instructions that is included in our project here, which is the CSS rules to specify families. So we have two families here. The number one here will be the Chewy value, which it represents the font family that we're seeing here right now, and another one which is a backup value. Let's say, for example, some browsers doesn't support the Chewy. I'm not sure if that's properly pronounced, but if some browsers does not support this type of let's say font family, the cursive value here will be the default font family that will be used by your browser so that it will be able to display the content of your document. So what we just need to do here will be to go and again copy this, and then go to the code editor that we have here and go place it inside of the declaration that we have here. So we have here the element name, which is the body tag. Then we have opening and closing curly brackets, which serves as the CSS declaration. And then we have the CSS property and the CSS value for that property. So we have the font family that we use normally for typography. So again, we have the main Google font that we got from an external resource, and then the cursive file here, or the cursive value here, will be the backup in case that, let's say, for example, there's no internet. Automatically, this will not be rendered by the browser because there's no internet connection and we cannot connect to Google Fonts. So automatically, this is a font family that is commonly found in different computers that will normally be able to display this type of font family. Okay, so if I go and save this and then go open our document here, let's go back to our document here and refresh this. You would see that it will change the font family of our document. It's not showing up mainly because we have a black background color here. So let's replace this and change this into white, and control save, and then go back to our document and then refresh, and there you go. We now have the Google font Chewy as the font for our project here. Okay, so I'm hoping you're getting the idea on how to maximize the use of the link element. So the link tag defines the relationship between the current document and an external resource. So we have here the index.html, and the external resource will be our style.css that can be located inside of our local storage device, or let's say our local computer, or an external resource such as the link that redirects us to the Google Font APIs that Google has provided for us to be able to have some options for the font styling of our document. So you would see here, everyone, that the link element here is also an empty element. It can only contain attributes such as href, or we can see here in our external style sheet, we have the relation attribute and again the href attribute, but it doesn't have any closing element. If you're wondering again what's the default value for the display, if the link element is rendered by the browser, again, I will be redirecting you to the developer tools here. So go to the head element and then look for the link element here. It will be showing you here that the display default value of the link element is none. Box sizing is content box. Float will be none. Line height will be normal. Position will be static. Z index will be auto.